Good morning, everyone. Actually, good evening for a lot of people in the US, and I know it is night right now in Europe. But here, where the day begins, it is morning. It has just started, and so good morning to all of you. So, welcome to my honest conversations. Today, I'm going to have an amazing guest, a woman that I really love and respect. So I'm excited and looking forward to this conversation. Meanwhile, those who are listening in, I would like to ask you traditionally to let me know if you can hear me well and where are you right now. I'm traditionally in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, where I've been the past few months non-stop, like every one of you. And my guest is going to be calling in from US, as far as I know. Hello. I know that a lot of my audience are in Europe and India, so for them it is night right now. But those who are in US, for you it's perfect time. It's in the middle of the day, end of the day. Yes, hi from India. Wow, India must be really late at night right now. And I'm waiting for my guest. So my guest today, if you've been following my stories, you would know that my guest today is Marisa Peer. Marisa Peer is one of our favorite Mind Value authors, but as you know, I'm a little bit of a rebel. I don't interview people just because they're Mind Value authors. I actually have to truly, genuinely love and respect the person. So I'm just waiting for Marissa to join. I've had a little conversation with her assistant earlier, so she should be joining. Oh, Colorado, soft and clear. I'm soft, I guess, because I just woke up, so it's my morning voice, not too woken up yet. I have my first cup of tea here, and it is hot. Yes, and probably I will have to switch off the aircon so that there is no extra noise. And I'm just waiting for Marissa. She should be joining me any moment now. So Marissa is the person who has taught me a lot personally. Hi, Christina. Nice to see you at my live session. So she's the person who has taught me personally a lot. Of course, mostly by listening to her, by seeing her speak, teach other people, and since I'm such a huge fan of psychology, and Marissa is a psychotherapist by education, and she has been also voted as one of the top specialists and one of the top doctors in UK. Hey, Marissa has just joined. Hi, Marissa. Of course, a lot of the things that Marissa has to share has been always a huge interest for me. So I'm joining now Marissa in conversation. And also the main topic or the main message. Hey, Marissa, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
So good to see you. I'm good.
Which world are you in?
Sorry?
Where in the world are you?
I am in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, where I've been the last few months. And you're in US, I believe, right?
Yeah, we're in LA. I just drove back from San Diego, especially to do this thing with you. So yeah, John and I have been motorbiking in
wow.
in La Jolla, actually, where you and I spent many happy weeks.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you very much. I'm so honored to have you on my honest conversations. They are usually very casual, and I don't really know what I'm going to be asking next. It depends on the conversation. So thank you so much for joining me. It's early morning here. I just woke up, so my voice is still morning voice, not very alert, not very awoken. You know, Marissa, I was just sharing that you have been a huge influence and teacher for me personally. Of course, just observing your work and speak, and I'm super grateful to have you here. And I think I want to talk about Marissa, can you hear me? Hello?
Oh, sorry, I would have
my connection?
Something went wrong there.
No, it might be my connection.
Sorry, no, it was, it's okay. Everything is good now. It just came out of the cradle. Everything is great. So sorry about that. At least everyone knows it's live and we're not professional and prepared, and it's just us having a talk about things. So sorry, what were you saying?
It's fine because I'm in Malaysia and the internet here has been so challenging and so trying. So some of the conversations I've been really struggling with just keeping connected. So it's no problems at all. And as I was saying, it's a very casual conversation usually, and I almost never know what I'll be asking next because I want to keep it as honest as real as possible. And before you joined, I said, I've been a bit of a rebel. I have a rule. I want to only invite and talk to people that I personally truly love, admire, and enjoy speaking to. So thank you for joining me. And of course, I want to talk probably about self-love. That's your main message, that we have to love ourselves through everything. But we'll see where it goes. Okay?
Sounds good.
Good. So, the first question I want to ask is, how much of self-love is enough? And I know a lot of people are afraid to embark on this journey. They are worried that maybe it's too much. Where does self-love and self-acceptance border with complacency, with saying, world, love me as I am? Can you give some clarity?
Yeah, I think self-love. So if that was a little seesaw here, this would be being a martyr and putting everyone else in front of you, and this would be being ruthless and putting yourself in front of everybody else. And in the middle is something I call honoring yourself. So it's not putting yourself first, it's not putting yourself last. It's kind of recognizing that you have a value. And the problem is when you don't do that is people value you to the degree that you value yourself. They push you as far as you allow yourself to be pushed. We all know when we're dating, if you don't value yourself, you'll meet guys or people who turn up late to pick you up and always have excuses and don't treat you properly, because we show people very early on how to treat us. At school, we lend other girls our stuff because we want them to like us. And we do all kinds of things in an effort to make other people like us. We kind of farm out our needs. It's like, here I am, and I need you to like me. I'm going to go, do you like me? Is my hair okay? Did you like my book? Was that all right? And when you give someone else the consent to tell you that you're okay, in doing that, you also give them the consent to take that away anytime they like. Like if I say, can you make me feel I matter? Can you make me feel good enough? Can you boost my confidence? Can you praise me? Can you up-level me? Well, you could, but you can also remove that. Go, I found someone else and I don't want to be your friend anymore. And now I'm back where I started. You have to take that job. Take the job of making yourself feel good. There's no doubt other people are going to enhance it, but when you take on that job, nobody can go, I don't like you anymore. I found someone younger, taller, richer, more interesting than you. So you have to take on the job of your self-esteem. After all, self-esteem means what I think of me. If it was what you thought, it would be called you esteem or I esteem. It's called self-esteem. I can say, Christina, I hold you in the highest esteem because I absolutely do. But self-esteem is what I think about me. And people say, oh, isn't that really arrogant? But arrogant people don't have any self-esteem. They're trying to convince you they're so great because they don't even believe it. And self-esteem is not bragging. It's not showing off. It's just this quiet air of, I like myself. It's all right. It's a bit like in relationships. And you get to the level where you think, you know what? If I'm on my own, it's all right. I can go out to dinner or I go to a movie on my own. I like my own company. That's when you meet someone. When you're very needy, I need someone to complete me. Well, how can you be incomplete? Don't look for your other half because you're not a half. You're a whole.
Yeah, that's true. But where is this line of, being self-complacent where you are actually become apathetic in a way? I'm quite fine by myself. Do I need to even make an effort? Do I need to be any better? Like if nobody loves me like this, I'll be giving that love to myself.
Well, I think the thing with your human potential is it expands as you move towards it. As you move towards your potential, as you do that, it does that. And no one on this call, no one on the planet has any clue of what your potential is, because as you run to meet it, it moves. So in the Olympics in the 80s, there was an Olympic swimmer who broke every record. He was amazing. And he was like RoboCop, because he was like this incredible guy that was breaking all these records, and went home. He was an American swimmer, went home to the US with either 8 or 11 medals. And now you can't even get in the team swimming at the speed. When you break a world record, it's a bit like when Roger Bannister ran that mile in under 4 minutes. 57 people followed him almost straight away, because we realized potential. So complacency, you should never be complacent. There's always something you can do and learn and grow, because your potential is expanding. And once it expands, it never goes back. Once your mind goes to a new dimension, it doesn't go back again. A lot of people get complacent in a relationship. Oh, well, I don't have to try anymore. People get complacent. What's the point? No one loves me. I'm just going to be fat and happy, old and happy. I've got my animals. It doesn't matter. But I think we should always be growing, always growing what you can learn and do. And the world is changing so fast, but it's exciting to grow. Why wouldn't you want to keep growing and learning and evolving and finding new things?
That's interesting. So another question that bothers me quite often, and I think you're the right person to ask. So on one side, yes, self-love is about being happy in your own company. Yet we humans, we crave for relationships nevertheless. No matter what people say, or sooner or later we feel that, it's funner to be with someone else. So how do you balance between self-love and actually wanting to be with someone? Or is wanting to be with someone is already the sign that, a red flag that, you have to be happy by yourself? What would you say?
Well, I think you have to be at a level where you like your own company enough that you'd rather be on your own than be with someone who isn't right for you. There's so many people saying, well, I'm never going to do better. I'm unhappy, but I'm scared of leaving in case I don't find someone else. Who's going to take me on with 2 kids and cellulite? A lot of guys are that, I'm not a rich, good-looking guy that goes to the gym. Who would want me? And so that's a great shame that we settle for less, because there's 2 different questions. One is, when you like yourself enough, you won't settle for less. Second, yes, you do have to be able to like your own company and be alone. But third, every culture in the world practices isolating you as punishment, banishment, casting out, putting people into solitary. In America, the percentage of prisoners that go into solitary have more mental health problems than the rest of the whole prison population put together. Because for instance, if you were to get a pet for your kids and you're out there, they say, well, you need 2. You can't have 1 kid and you need 2. It's not fair to have 1 pet. When you go to the zoo, they tend to have pairs. They get 2 lions and 2 penguins, because human beings cope very badly alone. Even hermits go into stress because it's wired into our DNA to need people. Because not long ago, survival was a numbers game. If I belong to a tribe, if I live in this fort, if I live in this walled city, I'm safe, because where you come from, the remnants of the walled city are still there. You shut the door at night, and set your safety and your survival will link to one thing. Do I belong to a group? And do they accept me? And if I do, I'm going to make it. And we're all wired to survive. And survival is very linked to being connected to another person. Newborn babies know that. I know that. You know that. And so we get very confused. Why shouldn't I just live alone? And in fact, you could live in an apartment with cats, have Amazon deliver everything you ever need, never see a soul, and probably live until you're 110. But not really living. Our happiness comes from connecting to other people. Our best moments are always when, for me, my best moments were cooking with my grandmother, picking berries and making jam. Nothing expensive. And all kids want is for you to be present with them. And often with our friendships, I say that was the best thing when we did that bike ride. Or I spent a lot of my life single. I was a single parent for almost my daughter's entire childhood, and it wasn't horrible. There was a lot of good, but when I got married, I thought, wow, I've never go back to that again now, because it's like someone gave me a cake, and then they gave me a cake with icing on it and chocolate and cherries, and I thought, wow, I thought I was happy with a cake. I didn't realize you could have all these toppings. So I think relationships complete you. Your interactions with people what make you happy. I mean, that's been happening very much in this, I don't call it lockdown, and being safe at home, in that where I live, people are trading things and swapping things and helping people out. And I live on a canal, and this guy every Saturday gets out his boat and goes up and down and sings Frank Sinatra songs to everyone else. And it's so lovely. People are doing really nice things. I just took in these 8 kittens that were going to be euthanized, and all my neighbors' kids come and visit them. And it's really, people, being with people make you really happy. They make you more happy than shopping. And so we shouldn't deny that and go, well, I don't need people, I can be alone. And a lot of people have found in this situation being safe at home. Some people love it, go, I love it, don't have to go to work, and I really like my own company. Others say, wow, I'm so lonely, I really miss talking to people. And I think in some ways that's good, because it's made us realize what are our values, relationships. People on their deathbed never say, I should have been thinner, I should have had more shoes, and I should have spent more time with others. I say, I wish I'd spent more time with my kids. I wish I'd had more love. And one of my friends died recently, about 2 years ago. He was an immensely wealthy man. And just when he died, he said, I never had kids. What was wrong with me? I should have had a son. He was so busy chasing women and going around the world on yachts and amassing a fortune. And when he died, that was his biggest regret, that he didn't have any offspring to leave it all to.
Thank you for sharing that, because you know, I think in our industry we sometimes lose balance between, you know, how much do you invest in yourself and how much do you invest in your relationship. And since we touched upon relationships, I want to ask this question, which also comes up quite frequently. So we know that relationship is often a work or a conscious effort to maintain, to grow, to evolve. So most people are willing to go into a relationship and change something about themselves, maybe, or work on themselves, or be conscious in that relationship. Yet, where's that border between, you know, knowing what your boundaries are, what is important to you, and compromising that to a relationship? How do you know that you're going too far into trying to make it work, and you are allowing something to be chipped away from your own self-worth, maybe? Because we can get lost in that balance of, you know, of working for the relationship and still remembering what you are.
Yeah, the media lies to you all the time. One is, you know, you two are one. People used to get wedding cards going, you two are one. And that's not true. You're not one. You're two people. You can't meld into the other person and go, well, I just do what they want. I want what they want now. Or we have this belief that relationships are really, really hard work. Both of those things are wrong. You become the same person is wrong. Relationships are hard work is wrong. You do have to you have to compromise in life. I mean, having a baby is compromise. You can't go out. Having a job is a compromise. You can't take time off. Having a home is a compromise. You always got to pay a mortgage. So in life, everything we want comes with compromise. Even being healthy, I want to be healthy. So I can't eat donuts. I go into someone's house and they've made pizza and beer, and I have to go, yeah, I don't pizza and beer. I compromise by, you know, not eating stuff that I know is going to make me feel horrible the next day. So why wouldn't you compromise in a relationship? You compromise in everything else in the world. If you've got even if you've got a pet, you know, since I took on these little kittens, I went away for the weekend. Oh my God, I had to organize someone to come in and feed them. I had to leave all this stuff out. I had to get all this food delivered. It was so different. Just, hey, I've got my toothbrush. Let's go. But we always compromise in life. If you have a job, you compromise. If you have anything, you compromise. But the problem is if you're compromising all the time, you know, love should not be chased. It should not be earned. It should not be born. It should not be worked for. And I think the problem a lot of us do is that we meet someone and go, oh, I'm going to pretend to be amazing. I'm going to pretend I always look like this first thing in the morning. I'm going to pretend. I was just reading about Charlotte Tilbury, a makeup artist predicted to become a millionaire. She said, my husband's never seen me without my makeup on. I take it all off, I lock the bathroom door, then I put it back on again and go to bed. And I never want him to see me without. She said, I gave birth with full makeup and a little negligee on.
Oh my
But
God.
and I think she's great. But that the whole point about love is that they see you with a cold and a runny nose, and they love you anyway. They don't see you that way. They still see you as beautiful. And so if you are working really hard, always compromising, that's not right. A relationship should be ebb and flow. I do for you, you do for me. My husband, bless him, sits through Downton Abbey and Belgravia and every period drama. And it's actually more fun looking at his face than looking at the TV because he doesn't get it. It's like, what are you watching this for? Jane Eyre, Wuthering Heights. But he does it for me.
Oh my God. We love the same movies,
I know. I love it. My happiest moment, we were driving home one day past Notting Hill. I went, oh my God, Far From the Madding Crowd is on. And we ran in. And I kept saying to him, I'm in heaven. He's like, I'm not. Because he didn't quite understand. I love Thomas Hardy. But in the same way, he loves nothing more at night than going out for dinner. For me, the day's ended. I'm finished work. I just want to lie on the sofa, read, make phone calls. But he likes to go out. So I do the stuff I don't want to do, and he does the stuff I don't want to do. That's a compromise, but it's equal. But if only one of you is compromising, or if the relationship is all compromise, it's not good. So I was to say to my daughter, look, in a relationship, you've got to just put a line down the middle. How much does it make you feel good? And how much does it not make you feel good? You better make sure the first one has more yeses than the second one. If you feel bad more than you feel good, if you're always compromising, if they're always late, always at the office, not putting you first, that's not going to make you happy. You do go into a relationship to give, but you also have to receive. And if you're just the one who's giving, it's not the right relationship. You've got to pretend you're this great person. Because when we're dating, we show someone our best side. We always turn up on time. We're very generous. We buy them stuff. We always have our nails clipped and our hair washed. I'm talking about men now, not women. And then somewhere in the relationship, we go, oh, I don't need to clean my teeth tonight. It's not important. I'm just tired. And we start to, wander around with our, unshaved legs. And if it's real love, it doesn't matter because they won't notice. But you still have to make an effort for the other person. You and I know John and Missy who work out every day because they want to be attractive with the other person. And we all know about letting yourself go. I mean, you should respect the other person enough to care for them, to do stuff for them. But it's got to be equal.
So people were asking if it's an open conversation for others to join. Not quite. It is my honest conversation, but you can ask questions, and sometimes I notice the questions, and sometimes there are a lot of questions, and I can't read all of them because I'm listening to Marissa, obviously. But there was a question which I actually agree with, and I would like to voice it out. So what is that you should never compromise for any relationship? Not necessarily romantic, also maybe friendships or children or family.
Well, there's some things that really damage a relationship. One is threatening to leave. If you are with someone, you want it to work, never say, I'll leave you if you do that. No parent would say to their kid, I'll leave you if you keep putting food in the dishwasher. I'll leave you if you keep leaving dirty plates there. But we say to our partner, I'm going to leave. If you do that, I'm thinking of leaving. And we even pretend, we even go through, so I'm leaving you, and packing our bags and being so dramatic. If you want it to work, never, ever threaten to leave. There are some things relationships don't recover from. One is mocking. Every time your husband tells a joke, rolling your eyes, going, oh my God, here we go again. I've heard this 80 times. Mocking the other person is something that's very hard to come back from. And making your fights a history lesson. 10 years ago, you did this. Do you remember 3 Christmases ago when you forgot to buy me a gift? And being superior. Well, I've got a degree, you haven't. No one in my family is divorced. It's all your family. So clearly you don't have the genes for making a relationship work. So mocking, being superior, never moving on, always digging up the past. These are things that are very hard to come back from. The things that make a relationship work are very simple. Best friend chemistry, sexual chemistry, and respecting the other person. So hitting below the belt is a really bad thing to do. And if you don't do those 4 things, your relationship will last. I'll recap if you like. Threatening to leave. hitting below the belt, like, well, I'm not fat. You know, I look at my, I don't come from a broken home. Being superior, mocking apparently is the hardest thing for relationships to come back from. And making your arguments a history lesson, dragging up stuff that went on years ago. So don't hit below the belt, even when you really, really want to. Don't mock. I was just one of my friends was just telling me that, you know, in lockdown, it's really hard being with someone. So every time the husband annoys her, she smears his glasses and then she moves his bookmark 5 pages down. And but she never tells him she's done that. And that's how but she doesn't snipe at him or belittle him. She just smears his glasses and moves his bookmark.
That's cute in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always something. When my husband annoys me, I always tweeze his eyebrows, go, oh, let me tidy up your eyebrows. And I yank them out. Then I feel so much better. And he always says, I know you're annoyed with me because you want to do my eyebrows now. But yeah, and then I feel better. So, but don't diminish someone, diminishing the other, but name calling. You know, we're grown-ups. We shouldn't go, oh, you big fat mess, or you hot mess, or you're just ridiculous. My friends say this. You know, you should argue the way you might argue with your boss. You would never call your boss names, flounce out, slam the coffee cup on the floor and go, by the way, I hate your parents anyway, and you're awful in that. It's you've got to argue like a grown-up, not the children call you names because they don't have any power. But as an adult, you can have disagreements, but you should try and hold on to respect. You know, for men, the biggest thing they need is to be admired, and often we don't admire them. They really annoy us, and then it's hard for them to feel admired. And women also need to feel admired and desired. So the best friend came into the sexual and the respect. If you have those 3 things, a relationship will go the distance. You have times when you can't wait to leave them, but you just don't tell them. You just do other things. And you know, a lot of platitudes, never go to bed on an argument. That doesn't work for some people. Occasionally they go, I'm going to sleep in the other room tonight. I need a bit of space from you, and I just need to process it. In the morning, it'll be fine. So we can have rules, but don't make them so rigid that, oh, you insulted me, that's it, it's over, because we're all different. You know, like when I met my husband, for me, birthdays are a big deal. And I said to him, you know, don't ever give me a gift in a carrier bag with a receipt in it. I don't like that. I like it wrapped up. And for him, he said, but birthdays don't matter to me. I don't care about them, but I really care about them. And so he always understands because I've told him. And he'll say to me, it really annoys me when I'm talking to you on your phone, or you come in and the first thing you do is go and play all your messages and even say hello. So we both tell each other, we have this thing about how can I be a better husband? How can I be a better wife? And it's a much better way, rather than saying, by the way, you really annoy me when, is to say, look, I want to be a better wife to you. And I'm going to tell you how you can be a better husband to me. I really want you to stop moving the chargers. My chargers have got pink nail varnish on them. Do not move them. If you don't move them, you'll be a better husband. Now tell me what I can do to be a better wife. And so it's much better to kind of go backwards and forwards with, yeah, please don't do that. Of course they still do, but they do it less.
So it turns out to be a conversation about relationships more than anything, but it's good. I think, you know, I apply the same advice to myself as, you know, when my relationships with my children and my relationship with Vision and with other, you know, other people in my life, there are a lot of similarities, and especially the relationship with my own relationship with myself. So I want to ask those who are listening in, first of all, thanks for being so active and for asking questions. I wish I could read all of them, but my side is not so perfect. So just leave a note. If you are in a relationship, say I'm in a relationship. If you would like to be in a relationship, please say so. I won't promise that you'll have the answer by the end of this conversation, but at least, you know, vocalize where you are. Marissa, I want to ask this question. I'm going back a little bit into our conversation. You know, you said that you have to feel happy in a relationship. And again, it doesn't have to be necessarily a romantic relationship. It can be friends, it can be family members. So do you think it's okay if outwards the world feels that everything is fine with you. You know, you have such a perfect man. He's so good. You know, you should be happy. You should be blessed. Yet, you know, your personal, and you understand it logically as well, but you just don't feel happy for whatever reason it is. It might be the reason, like in my case, for example, I just felt not seen. And that made me feel super lonely. Do you think it's okay to walk out of a relationship if you've tried, or do you think you have to, as a conscious human being, you should put more effort and work on it and become happy despite everything? What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to look at your needs. Okay, here's my needs. Here are your needs. And I can't go to you, hey, you're my partner now, meet all my needs. Some of my needs, they're never going to be able to meet. And I can't meet some of their needs. So you have to decide, which needs can my partner meet? Which needs do I have to meet? And which needs can never be met? I'm just going to decide, I don't need that need anymore. That need can go away. And then you have to work it out. But you know, we live in this fairy story. You know, every photo says, and then they got married and they lived happily ever after. Where does that ever happen? You know, we watch Friends. A waitress lives on Central Park in an apartment. I've never known a waitress live on an apartment in Central Park in my life. So we're all fed this fantasy about the right person is a clairvoyant. They know what to do in the bedroom. They know what gift to buy. They know what to say. And then you meet someone and go, how could you ever think I would like that? Even with friendships, you know, it isn't just about your romantic life. You can say to your friend, look, I love you, but it really annoys me when you're always late. You never turn up on time and it's very stressful. Or, you know, I lend you stuff and you give it back. You have to be honest with friends too. But if you can look at the needs, how much do I expect my person to meet all my needs? Well, nobody can meet all your needs. You have to meet some. But and then you have to look at the balance. And again, if it's not working, you should leave. People say, well, we've been together for 15 years. I'm not happy. Well, why are you going to stay together for another 15 years? What's the point? It's like that great joke of this couple of 95 who went to see a divorce lawyer and went, hey, we've come to get divorced. He went, you're 95. Why so long? Because they're waiting for the kids to die. And I thought that was very funny. But why, if it makes you unhappy, if you're not happy in your relationship, yes, when you have small children, maybe you're going to try and make it work out. I always think before you leave, make sure it's dead. You know, if you can bring it back to life, that's great. But if your needs aren't being met, and you know, we used to live until we were 50 years old. That was it. We got married at 20, had kids. Our life was all about getting enough food. Life was hard. By the time we were 45, we were knackered. We didn't have enough time to say, oh, I don't think you're meeting my needs emotionally. I don't think you're not what I want. Sometimes your first marriage is what I call your starter marriage. You learn something, then you move on. And every relationship you are in will teach you and help make them. And that isn't just relationships, even friendships. Sometimes you think, wow, in that friendship, it was really unequal. They gave, they took, and I gave. And I was always the least important person in that relationship. So you always learn. You know, life is long. You might live until you're 102. If it isn't making your heart sing, why stay? I mean, my parents stayed together until I left college, until I went to college. And it was a disaster. They were so miserable. They fought so much. They were both so deeply unhappy. And they should have actually parted a lot earlier. People stay together for their kids and then fight like cat and dog in front of the children, which is never a good idea. So I think if you're not happy and you can leave, you should leave. You know, it's a different world now. It's not like, it used to be a transaction. You got married as a woman to a guy. He paid the bills and you ran the home and you both were dependent. You know, men couldn't be on, they didn't have any ready meals. You just had to cook for them. You know, I used to watch Poldark about the miners in Cornwall, and they had to have a wife just to make bread and pies. And they were down the mine for 12 hours. They couldn't come home and start baking. And women couldn't work, so they needed to marry a man so that their children were taken care of. But it's different now. You don't need anything. And if it isn't working, give yourself permission to go and say, we outgrew each other. It isn't that you made a mistake. If you marry someone in your 20s, you're not even the same person in your 40s. And often people marry because the sex is so amazing. And then they go, oh my God, we don't even have sex anymore. We've got nothing in common, because nature's very clever. Nature often makes the sex really compelling. For many people, it's the glue that keeps them together. But then you tend to have children if you have that amount of sex. And then nature says, well, I need to switch that off now, because now you've got to get out of that bed and raise those children. And many women get all their oxytocin, that bonding love, from their children, and realize that they're with the wrong person. I've got so many friends that on my wedding day, I realized I made a huge mistake. Or, you know, I work with some people who have interracial marriages and say, you know, I was dating this guy, it was so great. He was this really sexy Iranian. Then we had a baby, and it's like, oh my God, we're not even in the same book, let alone the same page on how to raise children. And why didn't we have that conversation first? You know, compatibility is very important, but you change a lot. You know, I mean, I look at my first boyfriend, he was very sweet, but what's right then often isn't right later. And so much damage is done by staying with someone who isn't right for you because you think you won't get any better, being with someone that isn't right because you don't think your needs matter, because you can't ask. And so many people are incompatible and stick it out because of this fear that, well, anyone is better than no one. And that just isn't true.
It's interesting because, you know, well, for those who don't know me, because I know there's a lot of audience from your side, I'm mostly speaking and present in the Russian market, so I know the Russian culture quite well. I'm not Russian, by the way. And it's so interesting because in Russian they even have a saying, you know, no matter what kind of a man, but a man is better than no man, which is so ridiculous. I was just recently watching a movie and that was all about it. But that is, you know, that comes in a way from insecurity or from fear. My question is actually even a little bit more weird, because, you know, I'm in personal growth for the past 17 years and I'm surrounded by people who are idealists in a way, or maybe perfectionists in a way. And some of the comments, like I get the comments when people say, oh, don't divorce because your children will suffer, you know, your family will suffer. I understand that. This is very human and understandable. But the comments like, you know, you didn't put enough effort, you can make it work. Everyone can make it work, you know, divorce is not an option. So that argument that, you know, if you're a conscious, evolving human being, you know, in the transformational field, you cannot say that, you know, that some big part of your life is not working out. Like, oh, who are you teaching if that's not working for you? What, you didn't put enough work? Do you think this is even a valid argument, or is it okay to sometimes say, you know, we've changed, you know, since...
I mean, look, Wayne Dyer, you couldn't be more spiritual and lovely than Wayne. He broke up with his wife, Maisie. Tony Robbins broke up with Becky. So it's very unfair to say you're an evolved spiritual person, you can make it work. Sometimes you can't make it work. It's like saying, I've got this bobbly old sweater and it's blue, I'm going to dye it red and it'll be amazing. It's still a bobbly old sweater, it's just a different color. You can't take some old beaten up thing and dye it and go, it's brand new, any more than you could say, well, you know, I'm a certain age, but I'm going to get this really young fun. Someone I know just had the haircut that Kia, Cindy Crawford's daughter had. And I said, but you're 60, she's 17. You're never going to look like her, no matter what you do. Sometimes you just have to accept that you've grown out. I mean, you wouldn't say to yourself, I've got to have the same friend I had at 14. And I'm going to keep that friendship forever and ever and ever. I remember my daughter had a friend and she loved this friend so much. And the friend, they emigrated and she was so upset. And then she came back, she went, Mum, she's really boring. She just hasn't even got an opinion. And that was, this poor kid was sent to boarding school. The parents weren't together, but she really grew out of him. And many of our friends, you just think, oh no, I've grown out of this friendship. And you wouldn't keep trying to make it work. Nothing influences you more than the company you keep. We grow out of friends. We don't always even like our relatives. You know, we think, you know, I don't actually like my brother. I don't like my dad or my mom, or my sister's not my cup of tea. And nobody go, look, they're your blood. stay together. We grow out of stuff, we move on. And, you know, making it work for your children. I've seen so many couples who've watched their parents in a horrible marriage, and it really colors them because their belief is that's what marriage is. It makes you miserable, it makes you unhappy, but you stick it out, you stay there. You have to make it work. And years ago, they used to not let divorced people in the house. It was such a shame. Nobody really cares anymore. I think if you can maintain I mean, I'm great friends with my ex. When I got married, I love his wife. His children were my bridesmaid and page boy because they're my daughter's brother and sister. I think if you can maintain a friendship with your ex, that's a great thing. But if you're going to be on the planet for 90 years, why would you condemn yourself to be with someone that you've frankly grown out of? You know, we change, we grow out of people. Otherwise, you'd still be with your first boyfriend or girlfriend. And many of us go, oh my God, no, I wouldn't want that. You know, you get together, you do the best you can, and sometimes we just change direction, we grow. We're not the same person we were when we were 20 or 25, and it's very hard.
You know, you put the thought in my head of my first boyfriend, and I tried to imagine how he turned out by now.
I know.
But, you know, there was a funny comment about, you know, that it's okay, look at Vision. Well, for those who don't know, I'm Vision's ex-wife. So apparently not everybody knows, but so this question was about us. But I want to shift to a different conversation. The one thing that I really love, you come to my mind, and I think about that every time that thought crosses my mind, is that, you know, your mind, like whatever you tell your mind is what's going to happen in your life, because your mind will go out of the way to say, yeah, you're right, I'll do that for you. I remember your examples of you telling about how you deal with, you know, how you're dealing with pain, how you're dealing with things. So on the other hand, I'm a pathologically honest person to the point that if something doesn't work, I'll just say how it is. So if I feel down or depressed, I cannot put up the face and pretend that everything is fine, because I'm just pathologically honest. I have to be, you know, if I had a bad day, I'll say I had a bad day. So where do you balance that? Because on one side, you know, acknowledging hard experiences is important, because we can't bottle them, we can't push them under the rug. But on the other hand, you can get caught in that honesty, and you know that it is still something you're telling your mind, and it might start turning into the spiral. So how do you draw a line between actually being honest with your life experience and acknowledging it as it is, and yet suggesting positive things to your mind, and you know, but also feeling fine and not lying to yourself?
Yeah, well, I'm going to answer all those things individually. Yeah. First of all, your feelings are the most real thing you have in the entire world. Your feelings will never lie to you. And I'm a great believer you must feel the feeling until it no longer requires to be felt. So you can say, no, I feel really flat today. You know, John and I, it's interesting, when the Safe at Home first happened, I had to not to do with myself for the first 3 days. It was like trying to read, I keep falling asleep. And then I suddenly got used to it. I got into it, and it's been fine. And occasionally he doesn't like it, but we're never quite there on the same day. But when he's feeling those, that, oh, I'm really feeling flat, I'm just feeling I miss all my friends, I'm feeling disconnected, I would never go, don't feel that. That's like him saying, I feel thirsty, going, no, you don't. You can't feel, I don't feel thirsty, so you can't feel thirsty. I'm not tired, so you can't be tired. Your feelings are the most real thing you have, and your feelings are always giving you a message. And what you have to say is, okay, I feel sad today. People say, what have you got to feel sad about? That's like saying, what have you got to feel diabetic about? You are your feeling. You shouldn't feel sad. I mean, look at you. You're rich. You've got everything. You're young. You've got 4 kids. How can you be depressed? But if you feel a feeling and you push it down, then what it does is it regroups and it tries to come back. So I might say I'm feeling really sad and pretend I'm happy. Oh, I've got nothing to be sad about. I'm happy, happy, happy. But the feeling now recognized I haven't got it. So it's going to come back stronger and stronger. And it's what I call triple A. The first thing you must do is be absolutely aware of what you're feeling. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling doubt. Did I do the right thing? I'm feeling confused. So I'm aware I'm giving it a name. This is what I'm feeling. I'm aware of it, and then I must accept it. Because what we do is go, yeah, I shouldn't feel that. Who am I to feel? I've got no right to feel that. Look, right now, I feel like I could quite cheerfully give this kid away, but I shouldn't feel that. I mean, I went through IVF. It cost me all that money. I should always be happy. One of my clients, her child was kidnapped, and she got her back. And she said, if ever she was in a shop and told her, people say, don't shout at your child. Don't you remember? She was kidnapped. You didn't have her for 3 weeks. You should be so grateful. I'm grateful. But right now, she's being very, very challenging. And she felt she was never allowed to be anything except grateful that she got her baby back. So be aware of your feelings and then totally accept them. Don't go, well, I shouldn't. It's not right. I shouldn't be jealous of my sister. That's wrong. It's what you feel. Accept it. And then thirdly, and this is very important, articulate it, even on your own. Frank, right now I'm feeling really antagonized with my husband. Right now I feel my friend isn't being a great friend. Say it. Then your mind goes, oh, you've got it. And then it goes away. Feelings do the most damage when you push them down. I'm feeling sad. Where's a cake? I'm feeling lonely. Let me binge on Netflix. I'm feeling unhappy. Let me open eBay and buy tons of stuff. You can't shop your feelings, you can't eat them, you can't drink them, you can't medicate them, you can't even get rid of them with sex for more than a few minutes. So the first thing is you must feel your feelings. It doesn't matter if they're irrational, they are your feelings and you're allowed to feel them. So you are aware of them, you accept them, you articulate them. Secondly, you must be able to say, I feel hurt, or anger is hurt in disguise, and I like the sandwich that, okay, hey, you're my best friend, I love you, but it really hurt my feelings when you didn't turn up. I had that one of my birthdays, someone threw a party for me and it was a dinner. One of my friends just didn't turn up. She said, oh, I'm sorry, I had my period. I'm like, well, you should have called. I mean, we had to pay for that. It was someone else hosted that per head. And I could only invite 20 people. If you told me you weren't coming, I could have picked someone else. The same thing at my wedding. A family of 4 didn't arrive and they're like, they didn't even call. I'm like, so I wrote to them and said, look, just want you to know you really hurt my feelings when you didn't show up. And it's like $200 a head or something like that. And I could have given you 4 places because again, we could only have 100 people. If you don't say to someone that hurt my feelings, it festers and it grows. And I had to make myself go, look, I love you because you're my friend. You really hurt my feelings when I can't keep this in. I've got to let it out. I don't want it to come in between our friendships. So holding on to it's bad. So I'm going to tell you how I feel. I still love you. So it's the sandwich. You've got the bread, which is, hey, I love you. The bit in the middle, you really hurt my feelings. And then you add in, but I still love you. But I need to work this out. Many of my clients say, I can't possibly tell my mother. I said, listen, you go to your mother and go, Mum, I want to love you more. And I can't love you more because of your behavior. So I'm going to have to tell you how I feel. And then I can love you more. I can have a better relationship. I don't want to hold on to this resentment. So express your hurt, feel your feelings. I think it's okay to lie to yourself, depending on what you're lying about. So I would wake up and go, oh, I'm filming today. I'm not going to go, no, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. There's nowhere I'd rather be, which isn't true. But if I lie to myself about that, it gets me through it. And then I'm like, well, actually, it was okay. I think being brutally honest is fine, but I think sometimes you have to lie to yourself. I mean, we all lie to ourselves. When we say, I'm exhausted, oh, I haven't slept for a week. My kid has kept me awake for 3 nights. That's not true. I could eat a horse. My legs are the size of tree trunks. I eat as much as 10 men. My boss is killing me. My clients make me want to kill myself. Well, that's not true. But if you're prepared to lie to yourself, at least tell yourself a better lie. I have phenomenal coping skills. I love how I look. There's nowhere I'd rather be right now. When I wrote my first book, writing is quite a solitary, lonely thing to do. And I had to say every day, there's nowhere I'd rather be in the entire world than sitting at this desk writing a book. And it wasn't true. But so what is it became to very quickly, I thought, you know, actually that's true. There's nowhere I'd rather be right now than sitting here writing this book. Because whatever you tell your mind, first of all, it doesn't know if that's true or false, and it certainly doesn't care. If you're feeling, okay, I'm going on a date, or I'm going for an interview and I feel terrified, I'm so nervous, my heart's in my stomach, you might as well say, I'm super excited. I feel amazing. I mean, you've seen me speak a lot at Mindvale. I've seen you speak a lot. And many speakers are about to go on stage think, oh, I'm feeling something in my stomach. I'm feeling this tingling in my finger, adrenaline. But you get to choose, what is it? Is that terror or fear or excitement or passion or joy? So then you should lie. You should say, wow, I'm so excited. My body can't wait to go on stage. Here's the adrenaline. And I feel like a rock star. And I'm sure you know this story. Let somebody interviewing Bruce Springsteen saying, what's it like, Bruce, to go on stage? Well, it's freaking awesome. There's not an orgasm that can even touch what it's like to go on stage. He said, physically, I get tingling in my fingers. This adrenaline pumps through me. I break out in the sweat. So it's just amazing. And then they interviewed Carly Simon and said, Carly, why did you stop performing? She said, well, the most terrible thing happened. I get this tingling in my fingers. This adrenaline would go through my body and I'd start to sweat. And I knew I was having a massive panic attack. And so I had to retire from performing. They both felt the same feeling. Yeah. And they both told themselves a lie. It's a massive panic attack. It's better than sex. But one of them liked that lie and the other one didn't. Yeah. You know, I worked with a rock star. He had to employ someone to physically push him on stage. He'd stand in the wings with his guitar and start, oh my God, I can't do it. Look at all those people. What if I haven't had enough sleep and I'm really tired, and what if? And they had to shove him on stage. And as they shoved him out there, he just started to play his guitar and he was fine. But you should lie to yourself about feelings when you're about to give a speech or meet someone or go for an interview, an audition. Then it's taken on to go, I'm terrified. My mind's going to go black. I'm going to open my mouth and go, and look like a complete loony. Then you should go, no, I like it. I want it. I've chosen it. So sometimes it's very important professionally, or even going on a date. Hey, I feel great. I'm an amazing person. This guy's so lucky to be meeting me and I'm lucky to be meeting him, and our souls are going to collide and this is going to be amazing, as opposed to, well, who wants me? I've got 3 kids and cellulite. Somebody wants you. But we lie to ourselves so much, and since the mind doesn't know if what you tell it is real or false, and it certainly doesn't care, at least tell yourself a better lie.
I really love this, you know, if you're prepared to lie, then pick the better lie.
Yeah.
And I so relate to the stage thing, because I actually, no, I still feel scared when I go on stage, but I love this feeling, because if I feel too calm, I know I don't perform well. Sure. So for me, that is like, you know, I'm prepared to perform well. And just the other day, my friend said such a brilliant phrase. I decided to adopt it. I do not know if I genuinely feel like this, but she's like, you know, I feel much better naked. I look much better naked. And I thought, this is the phrase I'm going to adopt for myself. Yeah. No matter what I really, and no matter what I do, because this is the harmless, beautiful lie which I prefer to tell myself, because, you know, it doesn't help me to be worried about, you know, extra kilo here or cellulite disappearing there. I'm 42. Of course, I'm not what I used to be 20 years ago, but I love this lie. In her case, it might not be a lie, but for me, it suits. So pick better lies. You know, we have to finish soon, but I have to ask this question because it has come up, and this is something which is important for me. And people have been asking that too, the honesty. Why is it that we are so afraid to tell people how we feel, to be honest about our feelings, about our, you know, hurts? Because I also noticed the conversation where somebody responded like, oh, if I said that to my friend, that would be the end of the friendship. What is it? Why are we so afraid to be honest?
Well, we're afraid of being rejected. You know, we're tribal people. We think we're so evolved. We're not evolved at all. Go and stand right at the top of a very high building behind plate glass and notice how your stomach drops because your primitive mind goes, you're going to fall. Get away from the edge, you idiot. So we are modern people with a primitive brain, and our primitive brain knows something. If I get rejected, it will kill me. You know, if you ever watched Game of Thrones, which I love, did you ever watch that? Anyway, Game of Thrones, safety was a numbers game. You know, 500 years ago, you survived on the planet if you belonged to a group. You know, we know that in India, they used to throw women on the funeral pyre when their husbands died. There were certain women who, once their husband died, they had no life. So rejection was terrifying. We used to die of rejection. In Romeo and Juliet, when they cast him out, he said, well, I'd rather be killed, frankly. You can't cast me out beyond the city walls. There's nothing out there but purgatory. So being banished, being cast out was a kind of slow death. Because in order to survive, we needed two things: find connection and avoid rejection. And our primitive brain is still terrified of rejection. We still feel it will kill us. My friend dumped me, my boss fired me, my sister doesn't speak to me, and I feel so rejected. And again, you just have to go, yeah, I do, but you know what? It's not going to kill me. Once upon a time it would have done, but it won't kill me. But our fear of rejection is wired into us. We are wired to avoid rejection. Don't rock the boat. Don't confront people. Don't say anything. Don't be difficult. Don't be needy. Don't show anyone that you're scared of being rejected. But it's actually okay to show people now, because it's not going to kill you. It did once, and now it doesn't. And it's very important to understand this. Nobody can reject you without your consent. If I said to you, Christina, I really don't like that green hair. It just doesn't. You go, what are you talking about? It's not going to. It is, and I don't like people with green hair, and I can't be your friend more because you've got terrible taste. You would just say, I'm not letting that in. That's just insane. Yeah. Because you know that I'm talking crazy stuff. But we let in so much stuff from other people. And if you want to get over the fear of rejection, which is wired into you, don't let in negative comments. Now, I have someone who goes onto all my YouTube talks and tells everyone that Marisa Peer is a tranny. She's not even female. And I have no idea what's going on with this poor guy. But I don't go, oh my God, I just laugh because I feel really sorry for him. So people who want to, I mean, very few people sit at home going, right, I'm going to reject you. I'm going to date with you. I'm going to deliberately turn up half an hour late because I'm rejecting you. I'm going to dump you as my friend. Most people are too busy doing their own stuff. If somebody really wants to reject you, that's a deeply, deeply, deeply unhappy person. You know, praise builds up confidence, and criticism diminishes it. But you have to make a decision. I can't be rejected. And if my friend rejects me, and if my partner leaves me, it won't kill me. In fact, maybe it'll be the best thing that ever happened. I'm sure Catherine Zeta-Jones, who's married to Michael Douglas, she got dumped by her first and second fiance. I think every day she must kiss the ground and go, thank you, God, so much that they rejected me. And I flew to America brokenhearted and married Hollywood royalty. You know, we all get rejected. We all get dumped and fired. I got kicked out of college. My first boyfriend broke my heart. Every day I think, oh God, I'm so glad he did. I'm so grateful for that, because I could have still been with him. I could have still been at college training for a job that I never wanted to do. Sometimes it can be the best thing that ever happened to you.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, because we just opened up a very interesting topic, but maybe next time, some other time.
Okay.
But I have 1 minute left. It says it's going to cut us off. Instagram is going to reject us in 1 minute.
Okay.
So first of all, I want to traditionally ask everybody to leave a heart for Marissa. And I want to personally thank you for finding time and for driving from San Diego to have this conversation with me. Thank you so much. Thank you for being open and honest with me. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing you live soon and, you know, get through all those isolation and separation and give you a good hug.
Yeah,
So thanks a lot.
I'd do anything for you, you know that, darling, and I hold you in the highest esteem, and I love you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thanks to everyone who was here. Bye, and see you soon again.
Lots of love to everyone. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.